What's up, everyone? It's Sabrina Alexis, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. And today, we're going to talk about how to know if it isn't working. Specifically, the signs that your relationship is just beyond repair and it's just not working anymore. And how to know if you just need to move on from this relationship. One of the most important relationship skills is knowing when to let go. Knowing when to stop fighting. There's a quote, it's like part of my extensive quotes collection, and it says, relationships are like glass. Sometimes it's better leaving them broken than hurting yourself trying to put them back together. And so many people hurt themselves trying to repair a relationship that really just needs to end. A lot of people don't have this skill, and that's how they can end up wasting months or years of their life on a dead end. I see it over and over and over. I've been a relationship coach for a really long time, and this is such a common pitfall. Being stuck in something that's not right for you is a miserable feeling, and it just stifles your growth as a person. And I don't want that for you guys. So we're gonna talk it through, and I'm gonna break down exactly how to know if your relationship is over. So make sure you watch this video until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, tap that like button and also tap that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post new content. And if you want amazing, world-class relationship advice, I'm not exaggerating, guys, it's been described as world-class. Amazing relationship advice straight in your inbox every day. You can wake up to it first thing in the morning. Amazing relationship insights. You'll get them from me and from my partner, Eric. If you want to join our newsletter, then you can sign up at anewmode.com/subscribe. I will also link it down below. And also make sure you're following me on my socials at A New Mode on Instagram and Sabrina Alexis A&M on TikTok. Here's like where it gets tricky. There's not a switch that flips one day that turns a relationship from good to terrible. It happens slowly over time. So you could just end up hanging on to those good memories, and that's what prevents you from seeing what's in front of you. And that's why you have me. I am your voice of reason and objectivity. All right, let's get into the signs. Number one, you don't like who you've become. You may notice that your self-esteem has taken a major hit, that you're just not the same person that you were before you got in this relationship, that it's basically bringing out your worst and not your best. The feeling of self-loathing, it's such an uncomfortable one. The feeling of not liking being with yourself, a feeling like you need to escape from yourself. And you might have that in this relationship, and it might become more and more frequent. Healthy relationships are usually vehicles for becoming our best selves. We're not our best selves all day, every day. That's an unrealistic expectation, but they nurture our true selves and help us to become that. And we have that love and support to really become our best, to really actualize our potential. A bad, unhealthy, toxic, or codependent relationship can completely stifle our growth and may even bring out your absolute worst. Number two, you feel drained and emotionally exhausted. You may not be able to recall the last time you felt genuinely happy or excited about anything. You just feel so depleted. And here's the thing, love is about giving. That's what makes us love. It's about giving ourselves. It's about, and I mean, not material goods. You're giving, fine, maybe material goods, but you're giving yourself physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. When you're in a bad relationship, a relationship where it's just not salvageable, you might just feel like you have nothing left. You have nothing left to bring to the table because you are just so spent from things going downhill for as long as they have. If you just feel exhausted to the bone, like on every level, mentally, emotionally, physically, all the levels, it means you're tapped out because this relationship has probably run its course. Number three, when you don't tell the truth about your relationship to anyone. I had this friend, a good friend of mine, and I would always know when things were not going well in her relationship because I would just stop hearing from her. You know, if she'd be short with me over text or if like a few months would go by without hearing from her, I would just know like, okay, they're in trouble. Things are not going well, because she didn't want to tell me because I'm someone who will always tell the truth. And sometimes people aren't ready to hear the truth. I mean, this was like a toxic relationship that went on for so long. She knew that things weren't good. She knew she needed to walk away. She didn't like want to admit it. So she would just avoid me because she couldn't lie to me. I'm like a relationship person. But you may feel like if you're in a relationship that's going downhill that, you know, when your friends or family ask you about the relationship, you lie, or you know, you maybe lie by omission, or maybe you completely make up how things are going. I remember one particular relationship for me. I mean, it was so toxic and it was not a good relationship. And I remember getting to an argument with one of my friends and I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. He treats me like gold. Like, treats me like gold? What am I even saying? It was a lie. It wasn't true. I wanted it to be true. So Look at your interactions with your friends, with people close to you. Are you honest about what's actually happening in the relationship, or are you making up stories? Number 4, he's not even trying. No relationship is perfect. None. All relationships take work. You could be married to your soulmate, the person who's more perfect for you than any other person you've ever met in the world. It's still gonna take work, but the work has to come from both sides. And this is a misstep that I see women doing a lot. I do not see this coming from the men. Women tend to take on the entire weight of the responsibility for the relationship on their shoulders. They think that they need to do all the work. Maybe it's because women are just more naturally wired to be better at relationships, but women just take on that burden. And of course, it's fine to want to work at your relationship, but you cannot be working at it alone. He needs to be working at it with you. Otherwise, you're just swimming against the current. If he is just not trying at all, he's not putting in any effort, he doesn't seem to care to put in any effort, that is like a major indicator that this relationship might be beyond repair and you need to walk away. The only chance a relationship ever has of succeeding is if both people are fully committed and invested. Both people, not one person, both people. Number 5, when your resentment tank is full and your love tank is empty. This is a tough one. Resentment can build. It can build and build and build. And if you don't deal with it, then it can come to a point where it's too late. It's like pipes that have become completely corroded over time and just gets worse and worse and worse to the point where it just can't be fixed. You have to replace the entire system. If you build up so much resentment, I mean, that's also an indication that you're unable to communicate effectively with your partner. Maybe because they shut you out, they shut you down, they stonewall. You're not able to communicate what it is that's bothering you or what needs aren't being met. So maybe that builds up your resentment. Resentment can build up for all kinds of reasons. But if you let it get to that boiling point, you're just not going to be able to look at your partner with love anymore or with respect. And for a man, respect is probably one of the most important things he needs to feel from his partner in a relationship. Just as for women, for most women, not all women, not all men, don't come for me. For most women, it's to feel cherished and adored. Men need to feel respected. Actually, I have a whole chapter on this. I have a book on Amazon called 10 Things Every Woman Needs to Know About Men. You should check it out. It's super cheap. You can get it on Kindle for like $3, but it's literally everything you need to know about men. And we talk about this concept a lot in there. Resentment and love have a very hard time coexisting together. So if the resentment starts to take over, it pushes the love out and it's really hard to build that back up. Number 6, when your trust has been broken too many times. I see relationships like this play out over and over where, you know, maybe the guy cheated, maybe it could be physically cheated, emotionally cheated. She doesn't trust him. He swears he's going to change. It'll never happen again. But then she catches him talking to girls on Instagram. She catches him flirting again. Maybe he doesn't exactly cross that line and cheat, but the trust is broken. And then it keeps being broken again by all these like mini breakages of the trust. If you can't trust him, there is nothing there that's worth saving. You need to be able to trust the person you're with all your heart, with all your soul, because they're holding the thing that is most sacred and precious in the world. It's your heart, your trust. And when that's broken, and if you've ever had your trust broken, you know how hard that is to repair. It's the most priceless thing you have. And if you can't trust him with that, then you two need to not be together. Number 7, when you know the truth. If you're watching this video, I suspect it's because you know your relationship is done. You're just hoping that you're wrong. You're hoping that you're just being paranoid. You're hoping that maybe this is all you. Maybe it's your fault. Maybe it's something that you're doing wrong. And maybe you just need to change a little bit and then everything will be back on track. But I'm going to say that that's not true. I'm going to say that this relationship, and it's no one's fault. I mean, not everything is a match. If it was, then, I mean, I wouldn't have a career because love and relationships would just be simple. You'd get together and things would just work out, you know? It's not so simple. It's difficult. It's hard. It takes work. It takes effort. But you're already on the right path by being here. Maybe you realize, oh, maybe my relationships can still be salvaged. That's a possibility too. I would just caution you to not waste your time. This is your time, one of the most valuable resources we have. Once it's gone, you're never going to get it back. It's your time, it's your youth, it's your heart. So be really cautious who you spend it on. Now let's talk a little bit about why it's so hard to move on. I feel like with your job, you could be much more objective. Like if you hate your job and you want to leave, you know, I hate my job, I want to leave, this is a toxic work environment, I'm going to go look for a new job. But in a relationship, it's not always so simple. It's not always so clear as, okay, this relationship's no good. I need to find a new relationship. I need to get out of this, because our emotions are so muddled and we've invested so much of ourselves. And not only that, dating is freaking exhausting. Who wants to go out there and start all over again? Going back on the apps and the swiping and then like the little banter that you have to have and then the date and then the first date banter. Oh my gosh, just could be excruciating. Okay, I'm being a negative Nancy right now. I mean, I'm describing how it feels, but that's not that perspective that you should take. Even though, look, like when I was single and dating, I'm an introvert, so I just get exhausted by people very easily. So maybe only my introverts watching can relate to this, not the extroverts. But for me, it was draining because all the small talk and the banter and all that stuff just sucks the freaking life out of me. So that's why I had a hard time with it. I took breaks from dating when I needed to, because if I ever felt like really resentful of the process, then I was like, okay, I could take a break, step back, just be on my own for a little bit. But I took a perspective of like, okay, you know what? Every date is an opportunity to be better at going on dates. And so when I actually do find somebody that I really like, I'll be better at this. I'll be better at like the making conversation, of feeling a little bit more calm, a little more ease, a little bit more relaxed. Every person can also teach you something new about yourself if you're open to it. So I tried to see it from that point of view, and then that made dating feel less exhausting and less torturous. It's also sometimes just so hard to walk away when you've invested so much of your time, and you don't want it to be for nothing. But it's never for nothing. I mean, getting a ring on your finger isn't the only way to say, oh, okay, all those years I invested was worth it. Even if the relationship ends, I mean, me and Eric, my partner in A New Mode, we had a relationship once upon a very long time ago. We dated for a year, it ended, and then years later, it ended up turning into a career for both of us. I mean, we started the website together. I'm not saying that's always the outcome, but you always end up a little bit like changed from a relationship. You gain more insight into yourself. You learn more about yourself. But it's not really what happens to us, it's what we do with it. So if you had this relationship, it ended badly, and you just go down this spiraling self-destructive path, yeah, then it's you know, didn't do you any good. But if you see it as a learning opportunity, a chance to be better for your next relationship, then you gain something, then it's not a loss. Now, if the signs on this list sounded familiar to you and it sounds familiar in your relationship, I wouldn't say just like, you know, call your guy and say, all right, it's over. I would say first, communicate clearly, because communication is essential in a relationship. Communicate clearly to him, like, this is what's going on in the relationship. I want it to work. I need to know where your head's at. Or maybe you don't want it to work, in which case just move on. But communicate openly. And I would even write everything down first, because that will just help you be in a more objective space and you'll be able to just get it all out on paper. Sometimes when you're having these conversations, you can get so emotional. You can forget to say things, or you can say something wrong. Communicate, communicate, communicate. If you do that and still not changing, then I think you know what you have to do. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. If so, tap that like button, and wherever you're at in a relationship, whether your relationship's ending, whether you're looking for a relationship, no matter where you are, our newsletter will definitely have advice that can help you and guide you to get the exact love you want. So make sure you subscribe at newmode.com/subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.